Tonight, we recognize and accept Al Mikkeli Jr. as our first pioneer of the evening. In 1959, Al began his cable career with Burkham Company, a Gerald manufacturing rep company, where he was the branch manager in their Honolulu sales office. He became Gerald's CATV sales engineer for the West Coast and Hawaii, and later he served as the turnkey sales manager. He also has worked for GI, Frontier Broadcasting, and Annixter. After 30 years, Al retired and continued his work with SCTE. He was a good guy, and it's fitting we now make him a pioneer. His sponsors, Wendell Woody and J.C. Sparkman. Accepting his dad's certificate and pin is Steve Mikkeli. Steve? Next up is Colleen Abdullah from Denver, Colorado. Colleen began her cable career in 1984. Today, she is president, COO, and CEO of WOW, the Internet, Cable, and Phone Company. She serves as chairwoman of the board of the ACA and has served on the executive board of Women in Cable and Telecommunications. She advocates for women and children at the Rocky Mountain Children's Law Center and has been an exceptional mentor, helping and guiding people to achieve their fullest potential. Please welcome Colleen Abdullah into the Cable TV Pioneers. Her sponsors, Richard W. Gessner and Matt Polka. Next, we have Diane Bess Burstein from Arlington, Virginia. For over 30 years, Diane has worked in cable's legal and policy fields. Her work includes legal research, litigation matters, and FCC policy. She now serves as Vice President and Deputy General Counsel for the NCTA, where she works with the FCC, the federal courts, and Congress. Diane volunteers her time at Martha's Table, and so others might eat in Washington, D.C., and participates in the WIC Mentorship Program. Diane, we welcome you as our newest cable TV pioneer. Your sponsors, Amy Tykeson and David Roselle. Now, please welcome Sandra Dee Colony from New York City. Sandra began her cable career in 1985 with Manhattan Cable. Later, she worked at TV Food Network, Roadrunner, Time Warner's Maestro, and Insight Communications. Sandra has served on boards and committees for the NCTA, WIC, CTPAA Board, and the New York State Cable Association. One of Sandra's great achievements was a campaign to provide broadband to communities in extremely remote locations, like the Navajo Nation and other Native American tribes. Sandra's sponsors this evening, Yaj Janacek and Nancy Larkin. Here comes Gary E. Irvin from Morganfield, Kentucky. In 1979, Gary and his family built their first system, Union CATV. Irvin Cable TV then franchised, built, and operated cable systems in Kentucky, Illinois, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Nevada, and California. Gary joined the SCTE in 1991, serving as a foundation board member. He's a former coach and wrestling official at the Union County High School. As far as going the extra mile, well, let me tell you, he and his daughter were in the amazing race in seasons 17 and 18. Gary is sponsored this evening by Ricky Luke and Tom Jokerist. Now, please welcome Craig S. Heiting from Westlake Village, California. Craig's first job out of college was with American Television and Communications, now Time Warner. He now serves as the Vice President of Sales and Business Development for Deluxe Entertainment. Craig has volunteered with the California and Oregon Cable Television Associations, NCTA's Engineering Committee, the SCTE, CTAM, and SKITAM. One of Craig's community accomplishments was founding the St. Joan of Arc Youth Players. Craig's sponsors tonight are Joseph Van Loan and Bob Gold. Next up tonight is Anita Henderson of Bluebell, Pennsylvania. From customer service to community relations specialist, Zanita started out her cable career in 1988 with General Instrument Corporation. She's now the senior manager of North American marketing for Aris. Recently, Anita was elected to the 2014 board of Women in Cable's Philadelphia chapter. She also serves on the Dolly Wolf Productions Executive Committee to produce the one-day immersion in TV, cable, and digital entertainment event. Zanita is sponsored this evening by our old pal Matthew J. Aden and Sally L. Kinsman. Please welcome Christian Chris Hilliard from Kearney, Nebraska. While in school, Chris worked in the tech and construction end of the cable business and then interned with Daniels & Associates. He then built Wireless Entertainment Network and the USA Wireless Cable and later worked side by side with his parents as COO of Cable USA. Chris is passionate about small operators and serves on the board of the National Cable Television Cooperative and the Nebraska Cable Telecommunications Association. Chris is sponsored this evening by Thomas F. Puckett and Lon Rosado. Next up is Frank J. Hughes from Olathe, Kansas. Frank started his cable career in 1980 at HBO. I remember it well, where he was instrumental in introducing HBO Cinemax to hundreds of affiliates in the Midwest. 10 years later, he was general manager of United Video Cablevision, serving 28,000 subsystem in suburban St. Louis. Frank now serves as Senior Vice President of Member Services for the National Cable Television Cooperative. He has served on the board of Mid-America Cable Association and volunteers in many school and community organizations, including serving as president of his parent-teacher organization. Frank this evening is sponsored by Dave Clark and Rob Marshall. Next, we have Bruce Lazarus from Littleton, Colorado. Starting in the technology side, he later moved into the financial management side for NBC Sports as manager of sports financial planning, director of finance for CNBC, and the CFO and VP finance for Reese Media Enterprises, Request Television. Today, Bruce is the CEO of Media Audits International, where he expanded the company's audit operations and improved operations in Europe, Latin America, Africa, and Asia. He also participates in the Executive Mentoring Program at Denver University. Bruce's sponsors this evening are Ronald J. Rizzuto and Priscilla B. Walker. Our newest pioneer is Dan Nofs from Avon, Connecticut. Dan spent his first 25 years in the cable industry at Cablevision Industries, starting out as the GM Chief Technician. After several promotions, he became their Director of Engineering. Dan is a senior member of SCTE, has participated with operators on FCC matters. He's a member of the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, as well as a member of ACA and the NCTC. Dan's sponsors tonight, Alan Gary and Andy Healy. Next up, James Patrick Reilly from Venice, California. Jim started out as Director of Business Affairs for Sports Channel and the Rainbow Networks. Later, he served as Vice President of Affiliate Sales with AMC Networks. He now serves as Chief Revenue Officer for Vubiquity. Jim is a longtime CTAM member and a sponsor for SkiTam, raising funds for handicapped athletes. In his spare time, he heads up the Finance Development Committee for his school board and volunteers at church in many community-related activities. Jim sponsors tonight Don Matheson and Jeffrey Wayne. Next up is Vivian Rustagi from Duluth, Georgia. Viva started as a software engineer for Scientific Atlanta, developing the interdiction product, designing ways to jam signals so they couldn't be viewed. She continued her way up the ladder at Scientific Atlanta to Director of Digital Business. In 1999, she was the founding CEO and president of ITAS Incorporated, a software development and service company. Viva participates in NCTA, SCTE, WIC, NAMIC, and CTAM events, and in 2011, she was listed as one of the 12 cable executives in Communications Technology Cable Hall of Fame. Viva sponsored tonight Michael T. Hayashi and Mark Hess. Ladies and gentlemen, next please welcome Dick Chempp from Harrisburg, Virginia. With 6 U.S. patents as an inventor or co-inventor and 44 years in the cable industry, Dick continues in product development as the Chief of New Technology at Comsonics, Inc. He was chairman of the NCTA Engineering Committee and chairman of the SCTE Engineering Committee IPS Subcommittee. Dick served in the U.S. Air Force, was an Eagle Scout, was chairman of the National Foundation Benevolent and Protective Order of the Elks, and volunteers in many community-related organizations. Dick, you're a lucky guy to have tonight as your sponsors Ron Rannick and Jim Farmer. Our next inductee this evening is Dick Solberg of Thief River Falls, Minnesota. Dick's cable career began before he could even get a driver's license, working for his parents' cable system in Thief River Falls. Dick is a board member and past president of the Minnesota Cable and Telecom Association. He's board member of the NCTA and a member of the Governor's Task Force on Broadband. Dick volunteers for the Rotary Club, Elks Club, the L.B. Hart's Charitable Foundation, and the Lake of the Woods Sustainability Foundation. Dick sponsors this evening Robert B. Gessner and Gene W. Swithenbank. Next up tonight is Rob Stoddard of Bethesda, Maryland. Rob started out as the Washington bureau chief at Cardiff Publishing Company and later became the senior VP of Communications and Public Affairs at NCTA. His peers still call him the nicest guy in cable TV. He's been a board member of CTAM, WIC, and was a founder and president of the Cable Television Public Affairs Association. Rob is involved in many mentoring programs and is on the board of directors of the National Press Club Journalism Initiative. Please welcome Rob Stoddard as our newest pioneer. Rob, your sponsors, of course, Steve Efros and Susan Swain. Now please welcome Joel I. Sussel. He's from Denver, Colorado. Joel pioneered database marketing and developed marketing for the first MSO-wide deployment of two-way impulse pay-per-view. He now works at Eagle, XM, as Senior Vice President of Solutions Development. He has many inventions to his credit, ranging from improving acquisition, upgrade, and retention performance to developing industry tracking databases for HBO, Showtime, and CTAM. Joel's parents were teenage Holocaust survivors, and Joel has had lifelong involvement in Holocaust studies, conferences, and initiatives. Joel sponsors tonight the one, the only Paul Maxwell and Steve Nelson. Please join me in welcoming in the pioneers Robert C. Bob Wilson of Fernandina Beach, Florida. Bob has certainly worked his way up at Cox Cable, from business manager to senior vice president of content acquisitions at Cox Communications. He now oversees video programming acquisitions and relationship activities with all of the ad-supported premium sports and other specialty networks at Cox. Bob serves on the board of In Demand and Music Choice, and his sponsors tonight, Bridget L. Baker and Patty McCaskill. And I've just learned as of this evening that Bob is now enjoying retirement. Congratulations, Bob. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you tonight the Cable TV Pioneers class of 2014. To our new pioneers, your families, your friends, and your sponsors, I say congratulations to you all.